Hey, it's Kurt and Marc Swanson. We're down here at Marc's place, EFI Express. We just got done putting Mike Ferland's redneck, as he calls it, Skimmer on the dyno. It has a 5.3 Nietzsche engine. What did we make for boost with this one, Marc?
This particular wastegate, we peaked at 15 PSI of boost.
Okay, and that we found is good. It's pushing the upper limits as far as safety, but we find it to be good. Not awesome. I mean, more is better horsepower, but it shortens the life of the engine. Everything nowadays, computer. Dyno Max.
All right, so we have corrected the AFR on this last run. We had taken too much fuel out. As you can see, it's running quite lean, about 13-to-1 on the top end. We
okay,
have
so the black line is air-fuel ratio.
Air-fuel ratio. We did run a little lean on this run, and we corrected it on the next run.
Okay, and the red line up above it?
The red line is horsepower. As you can see, we peaked out at around 550, about 551.2 horsepower at 5,900 RPM.
And let's pedal in on it. No, it's not wanting to. Yeah, so 551. I can't quite get it to focus on that. What the hell is that line all the way at the top? Green?
That's boost.
Okay.
And as you can see, we peaked close to 15 PSI.
Okay. Which I got to tell you, we'll upload the video. It sounds. What did you put that, Marc? It sounds like the gates of hell opened when this thing spools up.
Yeah.
It's not that this particular engine. It's just if you're used to listening to a naturally aspirated engine, and then you have forced induction, doesn't matter. Turbo, supercharger. Oh my God, the difference is night and day. They just sound angry. So what is this? Is this like a crash cart or something below you? I see things humming and buzzing and...
down here?
Yeah.
This is the connections for the dyno. This is the data acquisition box where the data from the dyno pods interacts with the PC. We also have our pressure sensor and our air-fuel ratio sensor that's connected to this.
And that right there is what you use to actually tune, right?
That's correct.
That's either EFI... What is it, live?
Right, EFI Live or HP tuners is predominantly what we're using.
Today you used HP tuners.
Correct.
What are the dog houses here? What is this?
This is my Land & Sea eddy current hub dyno. As you can see, we've got an adapter that goes from the hub into the input shaft of the dyno. There's an absorber inside this pod that takes a DC current. And when that DC current is applied, it resists the rotation of the shaft.
Whew, hot.
Yeah, they're air cooled, which means they get warm when they're in use.
Yep.
So we can resist up to 1,000 horsepower per axle on this current setup. We actually have some new pods coming that will allow us to do 1,500 horsepower per axle.
Okay, so you hooked up 2 pods today, so your max would have been what?
1,000.
1,000 horsepower at the axle, at the wheel, at the hub, as we call it.
Yes.
So when we say that Mike generated 551 horse today at the rear wheels, that's, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood, what do you figure, 15% parasitic loss?
About 15% parasitic loss. I'm not good at head math, so let's see here. So 550 horsepower at the hubs.
Look, he's got a smarter than me phone.
Provides us with, at 15% drivetrain loss, about 633 horsepower. Okay,
633 horsepower. And I don't know exactly what this Nietzsche 5.3 cost to put together, but I got to tell you, bang for buck, whew, this is it. We have purposefully turbocharged these things to death to find out, you know, what the threshold is. That's why even Marc said it today. He feels good about the tune. He feels good about the stress on the engine. We did have a higher poundage wastegate in, and what were you hitting on that one? 17?
18.
Yeah, 18. The fueling system, which uses a Bosch 044 pump, basically it couldn't keep up. We just plain ran out of fuel. The pressure went from what, Marc? 50?
It went from, well, we're using a 1-to-1 reference pressure regulator, so it's supposed to be, it starts at 58 PSI at idle, or excuse me, at atmospheric pressure, and then for every 1 bar of pressure, it increases fuel pressure by 1 bar. So at its peak, it's about 75 PSI, but then what happens, of course, is when the pump started running out of flow, the pressure was dropping, and at that point, you can't do anything to maintain your air-fuel ratio, so we decided to lower the boost.
Okay, we have like about a 4-gallon fuel cell there. There's the Bosch 044 pump, which I'll tell you, for just over $100, damn good pump. In fact, Mike ran sand and grit through his, and it still kept going. It's really unbelievable. We gave him an air-to-air intercooler, not the most efficient, but with a skimmer, he's not heating up any water in the back. So every punch is essentially the same punch that you just had. Yes, as things heat up, you lose a little efficiency. We're using a General Motors setup, mass airflow sensor. It has a built-in, air intake temp, and it will adjust the timing accordingly. So on a nice cold day, evening, this thing should be kid dynamite. Into stock throttle body. I believe these throttle bodies are actually small, 78 millimeter, right around there. The rest of it, it's just kind of a grubby LS engine that, Jesus, these things hold up to a real ass beating. I had said earlier this was a GT35. It's not. We had tried a GT35 a couple of experiments ago. I think it was last year. Just didn't have enough oomph. It spooled well, but just ran out of breadth. This one is a GT45, 69 millimeter in here is where they measure it. That's the maw of the mouth. That's the air intake. And this one I believe is a 68.9. We call it a GT45, 69 millimeter. And this thing seems to be a real workhorse. We get them off eBay for $250, $260 delivered. This stainless steel piping came from Poland Spring Water when they revamped one of their lines. We got our hands on a bunch of it. Just stuff, junkyard engine. Made in communist China, a wastegate, which we have had problems with. It's best if you're going to go with any kind of high boost, use a, what is it?
The Tile MVR 44 millimeter wastegate.
And apparently that is the gold standard when it comes to wastegates. We raced down in South Carolina, not to get too emotional, but the SOB rusted on us because it sat on our front lawn for 3 months before we went down in December to race. First time we went under boost, yeah, boom, boom, out go the lights. We blew up a perfectly good Nietzsche engine with about 40 pounds of boost. Which, whose fault is that? That would be this guy. So, there was a great dyno run today, Mark. Really, it's good does my heart good to see this kind of stuff. This is a skimmer. It's not the mega trucks that we're used to dealing with. I believe this thing weighs about 2,700 pounds with Mike in it. We told Mike he needs to go on a diet, but we'll see what happens. So stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have more dyno sessions to bring you in the future. Maybe the next one will be the Pit Viper with the Mike St. George LSX 454. We're going to run that about 15 pounds of boost and see what the hell happens. So stay tuned, and thanks, Mark, for the great dyno run today.
No problem, Kurt.